Yeah, day 244, because I heard that you wanted more. It's day 244, day 244. Look at some cards. What we gonna score? Something like that. Sure, paste it, print it, and send it out to the publisher. Let's look at the first card of the day. It's Door of Destinies. What? A first card of the day. This is from Morning Tide originally, and it's getting close to $10 from that set, but you can get one for as low as $5.50 apparently, and I think that is a freaking steal. For this card. 4 mana for an artifact. As it comes into play, choose a creature type. Whenever you play a spell of that type, put a charge counter on Door of Destinies. Creatures you control of that type get +1/+1 for each charge counter on Door of Destinies. What a ridiculous card. What absolutely, like anything where creature type matters probably wants this, whether it's Zombos. I've had this played against me on camera, as a matter of fact, on Shuffle Up and Play. Medic cast a copy of this, and it does get quickly out of control, but honestly, I've seen this cast on a lot of YouTube shows. It's just absolutely stupid. Any, Elves deck or Merfolk deck or whatever, I'm playing Nightmares. You know what I mean? you probably want to play this stupid card. So if you got a couple of bucks, maybe throw it into your collection if you like those creature type matters decks. And if you really got a couple of bucks, some of these secret lair drop ones look really, really pretty. Look at that. Look how pretty that looks. That's really cool. From Phoebe Wall, that's nice art. But still, man, just $5 is all it really takes for a DOD all day, baby. This is going to be one of the better cards we see today, I'm pretty sure. So let's just stick a 7.5 on this and keep it rolling. This goes in too many decks, and technically any deck can play it, right? It's just, if you've never been victim, subject to this card, then I can understand thinking like, well, it does cost a lot of mana, and it probably doesn't do anything to turn you play it. It doesn't matter. This card is nuts. So let's move on to Null Hunter. This card, not so nuts. I was never a big fan of this monster manual style. I like it in the monster manual, right, for D&D. I don't necessarily love it on my Magic cards. So this is what it's supposed to look like. Doesn't that look like a Magic card, or at least more like a Magic card? 2 mana, 1 and a green for a 2/2 Null. That's a creature type. You could always put a Door of Destinies in your Null deck. It's got pack tactics. Whenever Null Hunter attacks, if you attacked with creatures with total power 6 or greater this combat, put a +1/+1 counter on Null Hunter. You guys remember pack tactics as an ability? I don't. As like a mechanic? Not at all. Anyway, a +1/+1 counter is pretty good. And I guess it's not too hard to get to swinging in with a lot of power toughness, but I don't know. Are you going to play it? Probably not. Probably not. Probably a fun card in like certain like draft decks back in the day, but you tell me the next time you draft Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, kid. I don't know if it's going to be this lifetime, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to give this a 2.8. I will. It could get big. Next is Dispense Justice from Only Scars of Mirrodin Ever. This is 3 mana, 2 and a white for an instant. Target player sacks an attacking creature. But it has Metalcraft. That player sacrifices 2 attacking creatures if you control 3 or more artifacts. Well, it's not too tough to get 3 or more artifacts, and at that point, it's a 2-for-1. But they do get to choose, and there's going to be, some tokens or something on the board, maybe. I don't know. It's just, it could be okay. But it probably just isn't. There's probably, again, this is a day so far of just like, better options. Except for Door of Destinies. Is there a better option? It's not Coat of Arms. You know what I mean? It's not Banner of Kinship. I really think Door of Destinies is like the tip top of cards like that. I mean, you play them all, but either way. Still talking about the one good card we have seen. Dispense Justice is just kind of a normal removal spell that, again, it can 2-for-1, but I probably wouldn't force it. I'm just going to give this like a 3.4 and move on. Next is Sky Diamond. We just did diamonds yesterday, so I can't really count diamonds, but I did a whole spiel. If you didn't see yesterday's episode, go check it out. I did a whole thing about diamonds. I love you, man. But I guess I'm glad you don't count for this video because I don't have to lament anymore. Next is Shackles from Invasion. Actually, it's from Exodus originally. This is 3 mana, 2 and a white for an aura that enchants a creature. You can have enchanted creature not untap during its controller's untap phase. But you can also pay a white and just return Shackles to its owner's hand. So it's one of these. These aren't exactly at a premium or anything, but these are pretty good in Enchantress decks. Anything that will allow you to play this over and over and get like multiple draw card triggers or +1/+1 counter triggers or whatever you're doing. These tend to be good in, but there are better options than this. I think Conviction or something like that is like 1 or 2 mana for a white aura that you can pop back to your hand for a couple of mana. You know, again, we have options besides just Shackles, but Shackles is okay as a pseudo removal spell, you know, in certain times in your Enchantress deck. So I could see maybe like a really budget build or something that's trying to play a lot of like unknown cards, maybe try to squeeze this in, but you don't necessarily have to. You know, we just played like Ariette, the Charmed Apple. We just did our Commander Deck Tech. After building that deck for like 2.5 months. It's really a long time putting that thing together. We just put the Commander Deck Tech out. You haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But while I considered cards like this, really only a couple ended up in the deck. So, you know, Flickering Ward, Mourning was one that worked out really well. That's kind of like this, but costs less mana. So, again, better options, but always a cool thing to see. So, I'll give this a 3.6 and move along, sir. Next is Craterhoof Behemoth. Wow. Okay. Cool. Originally printed in Avacyn Restored. It's about $15 right now. What is the Dragonstorm one worth? 19, 13 bucks. Oh, the ugly one is worth 13. Okay, no, this one is $12.50. Okay, $12.50's. That's really good for a Craterhoof, man. This is 8 mana, 5 and 3 green for a 5/5 beast with haste. When it enters, creatures you control, including it, gain trample and get +X until end of turn. X being the number of creatures you control. So the Elf Ball win condition for a really long time, right? And just good in general. It's just really, really good in general. There's a reason this card's like $12.50 at the lowest possible price, but even that looks like a steal in some ways if you can afford it for a Craterhoof, because this just ends games. Even if your opponent can kill it or whatever, you know, it's still going to give effectively an overrun, you know, to your whole team. And sometimes it can be like a +7/+7 or more, you know, overrun. So usually worth that effect, even if it does die for the cause. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna give Craterhoof I'm gonna give it a 7.7. That's high. That is actually high. I think some people might lobby for more though. I don't think this is an 8, but I will give it a 7.9. Does that satisfy you? Probably not, but I don't know. At the end of the day, not every situation is perfect for Craterhoof, but win games. Cards that win games get a pretty good score for me. But next is Grenzo, Havoc Razor. This is 2 red mana for a 2/2 legendary goblin rogue. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, choose 1. Goad target creature that player controls, or exile the top card of that player's library until end of turn. Until end of turn, you may cast that card, and you may spend mana as though or mana of any color to cast the spell. So get some card advantage off the top of their library till end of turn, or make it to where a guy can't attack you. Okay, so not so bad. Originally printed in Conspiracy, cost about 20 cents for a copy of this. Doesn't look like it's getting too much love. You know what I mean? But it's actually pretty powerful for just a couple of mana, right? You know, it's not necessarily Thopter Spy Network or Reconnaissance Mission or Coastal Piracy or, you know, Enduring Curiosity or a card like that. But it is still just a couple of mana to, you know, keep creatures off your back on the one hand, but also, you know, actual real card advantage on the other with a couple of relevant creature types. I can't hate this, man. Only 2 mana? How have I not seen this in my life? I feel like I should have seen this, right? I'm going to give this a 5.2 just on first impressions alone. I think this, you tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. It looks like a fine card. Like, that's a pretty cool combat damage trigger, right? Am I wrong about this? At least a 5.2. It might be higher. Next is Sly Spy. It's an uncard. Those do not count. So we'll look at Stinging Lissid from Tempest. Only ever Tempest, but not on the reserve list. But we really haven't reprinted Lissids anywhere. Reprint Lissids now, everybody. This is 2 mana, 1 and a blue for a 1/1 Lissid. You can pay 1 and a blue and tap it. Stinging Lissid, I'm going to read the actual card, and then we'll read the Oracle text. Stinging Lissid loses this ability and becomes a creature enchantment that reads, whenever enchanted creature becomes tapped, Stinging Lissid deals 2 damage to that creature's controller instead of a creature. Move Stinging Lissid onto target creature. You may pay blue to end this effect. Okay, so what do you say nowadays? 1 blue tap. This creature loses this ability. It becomes an aura enchantment with enchant creature. Attach it to target creature. You may pay blue to end this effect. Okay. Whenever enchanted creature becomes tapped, its controller this creature deals 2 damage to its controller. So Still reads very similarly, honestly. This is a neat card right here. It really is, especially in like the Hilda deck, right, where you're tapping down your opponent's creatures. This is a cute little like way to use that line, and you could always switch it to other creatures for a total like 3 mana. You know what I mean? And so, kind of an equipment in a way, kind of an aura equipment creature. Weird. It was such a weird design, but really really cool in a lot of ways, and really only available from the one set. I don't know. Pretty neat thing, all things considered, man. And I guess there's a couple of decks you could use it in, but there's got to be, 99 better ways to use your commander slots. But you want to bust out something that people are going to go like, ooh, this is probably a good choice. So I'm going to give this a 3.4. I don't think that it's that great, really, but there's some stuff. Next is Lin and Rin. That's fun to say. Harmony Incarnate. It's actually the Royal Scions, originally printed in Throne of Eldraine. A planeswalker that you can get for really 33 cents at the lowest rate. This is 1, a blue and a red for a 5 loyalty Will Rowan planeswalker. +1, draw a card, discard a card. +1, again, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. Okay. And -8, draw 4. When you do, Royal Scions deals damage equal to, to any target equal to the number of cards in your hand. I remember people kind of sneaking this into standard from time to time. Back when it was first, back when Throne was first in standard. Embercleave quickly took over that format, but I do remember seeing this, like on the arena, I believe, a good bit from time to time. So I've always been a fan of a +1 that loots. I think 3 mana is a bit much for a loot, but at least at that point you'll have a 6 loyalty planeswalker. That's not bad on turn 3. Same thing with if you're in a more offensive position. If you don't necessarily need to protect it so much, you put it on 6 loyalty and you get something through with first strike and trample. And a relatively, like a moderate power boost. That's not a bad power boost. And the ultimate, I remember actually being like kind of gettable some of the time, and it's not a bad ultimate either. It'll either blow a creature off the table or just like dome an opponent for 1 million. And drawing 4 is great no matter what. You got 0 in your hand, you got 7 in your hand, you'll be happy to draw 4. So I actually remember this being like decent from time to time. I don't know how good it is in Commander, but a 6 loyalty planeswalker effectively for 3 mana is a decent rate in that format, where you do have to kind of worry about 3 different people coming after your planeswalkers. But this isn't the same color as like Propaganda and some other kind of propaganda like effects and some other things that could keep your planeswalkers from getting hit so hard if you are playing Super Friends. Atraxo Super Friends was a thing for a while, but I'm pretty sure that deck leaves out red, so you couldn't play Royal Scions. Maybe I'm wrong, but either way, I'm not sure how good this could actually be in casual Commander, but definitely better than some other planeswalkers you could choose to play. So I'm going to give this a 4.6 and move on. I think it's a fine card. I do. Vessel of Nascency is up next from Shadows over Innistrad. Cost about 15 cents to get your hands on one of these. A green mana for an enchantment. Pay 1 and a green and sack it to reveal the top 4 of your library. You may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker card from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard. So, total of 3 mana to find something, man. You'll absolutely find something, but kind of an impulse effect that doesn't let you get anything like an impulse would. Costs more than an impulse and is not, at least up front, instant speed. So that kind of sucks. But if you're, again, playing Enchantress and you want a card that'll find you an enchantment or an important creature in your deck, an Enchantress of some kind, this isn't a bad choice. It's only 1 mana to trigger all of your Enchantress effects, and that can be okay. So I could see playing this from time to time, but I built a number of, I built Sithis Harvest Hand, and I've never really considered something like this, although maybe I should have. So I'm going to give this a 3.5 and keep it pushing to our final card of the day here. Ooh, Proph's Eidetic Memory. This is a good one. 2 mana, 1 and a blue for a legendary enchantment that enters the battlefield and draws a card. You have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've drawn more than 1 card this turn, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, X being the number of cards you've drawn this turn, -1. So the turn it comes into play, it is 2 mana to draw a card and put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. If you play it on curve, and you played a 1-drop on turn 1, it should do both of those things. And it's not hard to do those things, considering right now we have like Storm Chaser's Talent and Standard is a great 1-drop, but we've also got like Spectral Sailor and a couple of other things. So you see this pop up on the arena, and even in MTGO, like league results and challenge results from time to time. It will actually show up. So not a bad card in Standard for what it's worth. And it's real good in Commander, where you have a lot of ways to draw billions cards. So many cards. And it's, redundant with Reliquary Tower and Library of Laying or like whatever cards that you're playing that allow you to have no max hand size. So that could be kind of an underrated effect too. But at the very least, it draws you a card. And once you really get the soup cooking, you're going to be able to put like 4 +1/+1 counters or more on a creature, during your combat step. So really goes very well, especially with certain commanders that you might be playing in, well, really in any color that plays islands. I asked Twitter just recently, what's the most powerful color in Commander? I left red out. Sorry, red. I only get 4 options on a Twitter poll. But blue, if you'll excuse the pun, blew everything else away for a reason. And a lot of that is because of its card draw potential. And when you get something like this that, takes that card draw and actually turns it into something that makes your creatures way stronger too, you got a winner. So it's the reason the card's like $4 right now. I will give this a 6. Right at. Actually, 6.2. I'll raise it slightly. I think a 6.2 is about right. This card is probably only going to go up in price over the years, I would say. So, they're not going to reprint it too often, especially because of the really specific name on it. So, I'd probably go ahead and pick up copies. I feel like as time goes by, this one will get popular and kind of expensive. But that is all we've got today. I'm going to record a couple more of these in the batch. So, again, we should have you set until Friday. But I appreciate you spending your Wednesday morning with us. I'll see y'all later. Bye.